This is Conversations, a 20-minute talk about wrestling. Sit back with your favorite beverage and turn the volume up for this conversation. All right, we're live from 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is an stspod.club production. All episodes, Memphis in May, and I've been teasing this. This is episode 951. He's going to end this. He's going to end all episodes of Memphis in May. Dustin, 5-star. And the way this show works, Dustin, by the way, this is like your 6th episode of doing this. The last 4 or 5. Yeah. Don't be doing no gang signs on me here.
No gang sign? That's Wrestle Center.
My bad. There. So we got 20 minutes. We're going to talk for 20 minutes on Conversations. It airs right here on an early Friday morning as a surprise to everybody. Then when the 20 minutes is over, well, we start shooting. We keep the camera on, but we're going to start talking about Shooting Star. We're going to do an episode of Shooting Star, and it only airs on Patreon or members only. No clips, no anything will happen on the main feed. So if you're not subscribing to members only, you're not subscribing to Patreon, you will not get the Shooting Star. Go ahead.
You have not really told me what these topics are, so that kind of makes me feel like you're about to get me in some trouble.
Well, no, Shooting Star, I always try to get you in trouble. Mm-hmm. So, but the topics for today, and I talked to you a little bit about this, and I'm just a big nerd about it. It's really just for me, and I'm just bringing my audience on with this. I want to talk about the TV show and how you put it together, and then if we got a few minutes after you talk and tell we'll tell what happens when I get the show. This is kind of behind the scenes on the production of Memphis Wrestling, how it's put together, who records it, what you do. So start before the tapings on a Sunday. And what do we do different for a TV taping than you would do a house show? What do you start doing?
House show is basically a play off of what you've already done on television or what you have coming up on television. Especially as young as our crew is, a lot of times it's good to get them in there and be able to work out some matches before we put it on television, and practice matches and stuff like that are always something that I look at and go, I would put that on TV.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah. So some of the practice matches have turned into TV matches just based off of me seeing them. But when it comes to television, it's got to start with an idea. And then it used to be that the idea would go on a piece of paper. But now it goes into a spreadsheet. Every single minute has to be allocated. And then since we're in several different television markets, it's very, very important to be exactly right on time. So that way all that footage is perfect for them to put their commercials in and all that kind of stuff. So every single minute of the show is allocated. Almost everything is done on purpose. So if the segment is, I could actually tell you, what is it? There's 6 segments. It's 8, 8, 9, 7, 7, 8, and they have to be right on the money. So if a main event goes over, those are really tough because you have to be exactly 8 minutes on that final segment. So anyways, it goes from the paper, and then you have to discuss it with the talent. And we don't put stuff out very early, very often, unless it's going to be something intricate or something that is just extremely trusted 1,000,000%, because you never know what might happen. You never know if it might get out. You never know if somebody might not like it.
But you're taping, when you go in to tape, are y'all still taping 3 shows at one time?
Yes. So all 3 shows. And then also it's juggling the talent to make sure that somebody doesn't wrestle 3 times. And then all of the stories, even if it's 1 minute in that 3 show taping, that is extremely important to continue your story and link it to that next television taping to make sure that you've got a booking, to be perfectly honest with you.
Right. All right. Do you look at, I know you do with the stars sometimes, because you'll bring somebody in and Indy Hartwell, That's a perfect example. We run an angle. We have them either on the second show, then they do the match on the third show. Do you look at all the talent that way? And I know you have some long, drawn out storylines, but is that the way you look at it as 3
Absolutely.
shows?
Absolutely. So when you have 2 guys like CJ Money and CJ Blaine, way back before we even shot the Grind City Rumble, I mean, this is probably October, November, we just put them together as CJ Squared. And it was just a loose, hey, let's get these young guys on television, get them some opportunities. And then that thing has stretched all the way out until now. And then I believe we're going to culminate that at June 8th. So you got all the way from October, November, all the way to June on a story that has just trickled along the way. And those guys didn't have anything prior to that. So that's why I say that those small little stories, even if you don't necessarily like them, you know, the people do like them. They think they're entertaining, and you should just sink your teeth into it. So basically, once the formats are done, we'll have a production meeting at 10 a.m. I'm there at the Wrestle Center at 9 a.m., if not 8:30. But then we have a production meeting at 10 o'clock, timekeeper, DJ, senior official, director, myself, and then a lot of the trainees gather around, just not to really discuss, but just to overhear how this thing is put together. We go through it. Then we have an 11 o'clock talent meeting where we give the, hey, you do this, blah, 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 blah. This is what's coming up. And it's like 5 or 10 minutes because we are rocking and rolling. Then I go straight to the desk. People go start doing pre-tapes and promo shoots and stuff. Then they come to me, and then we're starting to produce the show. So all this happens so fast. That's why I say, man, like our roster is just the absolute best because they don't get a lot of this stuff ahead of time. And they put it together within a couple of hours, and then we're able to shoot it, and then we're able to edit it. So once it's shot, shout out to Michael, who's our audio tech back there, has the show sounding awesome. Neil Taylor is the director. Terrence is like a floor director a lot of times. So there's a lot going on that people don't really see. We need to put a camera on that, actually. But then it goes to Ethan. So Ethan now pretty much does a simple edit on the show to where he kind of gets it ready and gets it timed out for me.
Okay, I got a question before we do that. So you talked about getting everybody ready, doing some practice matches, which I totally shocked on that. I did not know you were doing that.
Well, that's at training at the Wrestle Center. That's not like we're bringing in Gun Show to have a practice.
Right.
This is our trainees that are almost ready to go. And sometimes I see something in training and go, let's put that on TV. And they're confident because they've been doing it. So I say practice match, but you know what I'm saying.
What about some little simple things like and I know you just explained a total different thought than I had, and you're running the show like a true professional. I mean, you were behind the scenes with WWE, so you understand all of that. But no one does it like y'all do. But do you? At what point do you say, look? And I remember this was a hard thing for indie wrestling in this area. Is the first match and then the last match had the same finish, or they did the same finish in 2 or 3 matches? Who do you get
on our
with?
Show?
No, I'm talking about used to be on indie shows in the area. Who do you get with and say, look, we're on this TV show. We can't have the same finishes on for 2 or 3 matches.
That's on the producers is what that's on. And there should be a producer for every match. And I think one thing that we could strengthen in is having more producers. Shout out to Austin Lane. I would love nothing more than to have Austin Lane come out and produce matches, even if he doesn't appear on camera.
Right.
Simon, Derek King, Simon, myself. There's a couple of others, but then also there's got to be an understanding with the crew that there are certain rules, like you cannot jumpstart a match without it getting cleared. You know, because I think there was one, we're an hour show. If you have 3 jump starts, it's like, it makes no sense.
Right.
So there are certain things that we try to make sure that aren't repeated, but that's all on producing the show. It's very important.
What about the gear? There used to be a thing.
This happened. Yeah.
So on television, you know what I'm fixing to ask. On television, where 2 people were wrestling each other are not supposed to have the same color gear.
I was so mad. And the one guy so this was an instance with Gio Savage. Gio Savage, to me, wears gold and black. His opponent was wearing gold and black. And that's a situation where I'm at the desk and I don't see it behind the scenes. If I would have seen it, I'd have been like, hey, brother, I know you got another color in that bag.
Right.
You just got to have that continuity throughout the show. I mean, you can't have two guys with the same name. There for a second, we had a lot of Kings. So it's like, what are we doing here, guys? So, yeah, we are very conscious of that. But that, again, goes to producing. That's being produced.
Well, you got to have somebody. It's silly. It sounds silly to someone listening to this, but it's very important to have. I'm gonna say a perfect example is The Simpsons. Okay, so The Simpsons, each character looks different. There's not going to be two Homers on the screen at the same time.
Right.
So you want to make each, and we talked a little bit about people being difficult with the gimmick and everything, but you want a simple name and you want each person to look different. So when I've got a big screen television in my studio, and when I walk past that screen while Memphis Wrestling is on, if there's some blue tights or purple tights, then I kind of want to know who that I know who that is. That's Derek King, or at the time, say Derek King or Ray Ray. That's why we do things like this, in the sense that you need someone just to walk around and say, who you wrestling? No, you got the wrong color on. Don't do that move, because this is the finish. But yeah, it is they wonder when you see all those producers come out on WWE. I know some people think, well, what the hell? Why they got so many people? Well, they need that many people. They need that many people for just simple things. Okay, so you get the show. You says this guy sends you the unedited version of the show.
Well, so I'll put the music in post-production. I'll put the commercials in. I also edit the commercials. I'm now editing the highlight packages, which takes a lot of time to do, but they're so good. And I've heard the talent mention that sometimes they feel like it's watching a movie trailer for that 1 minute of what's happened over the couple of weeks. And I learned a lot of that from Terrence Ward. He was putting a lot of those together, and they were very, very tough. But if you it's just like editing the same thing over and over and over again, eventually you get kind of good at it to where it's a little bit easier to do.
You find tricks. The same thing with me. I've done videos for I don't know how many weeks now, but
they really tell the story. They really do tell the story. If you miss,
but that's something y'all do. Why do you feel? And I know the reason, but why do you feel it's important? And I give hit all the time on stuff like this, but I could and I'm going to answer my own damn question. I could start watching Memphis Wrestling. We just watched 222 last Saturday. I could watch that show and find out all the angles that are going on, what's happening next week, the whole 9 yards, who's feuding with who. But it's so important and so time consuming to do things like that.
Yeah, but that's what separates our show from the rest. If there's any left, I mean, that's literally what separates our show. Is it's a true show. I love coming back to the desk for me and Maria to react, me, Pete, me and Terrence to react to what just happened and to tell the fans that this is what we think is going on right now. But guess what's coming up? And then we go to the next thing. There was something.
Do you have a certain schedule? Do you have a certain schedule that you say, okay, I'm going to sit down on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll talk about, if we got time, how I get the show and what I do from that point. But do you have, okay, so we almost get it usually Wednesday mornings.
Oh, hold on one second. So the reason that we like to tell those stories, at first we're looking at it from YouTube, the numbers, I mean, we're getting a couple of thousand new subscribers every single month. Right. And also the following on Facebook. So we have to tell people those stories. And then also something like WMC coming in and putting us on 5.1, the flagship, last Saturday at 1 p.m., that opens up to a much larger audience to where they're sitting down going, well, wait a second. What is this at 1 o'clock? Really? This is Memphis Wrestling is back? Oh, she attacked her last week and now she's doing, you know what I mean? Selection Saturday was a big day for us, and that was the one that aired at 1 p.m. So that's why you have to continue to tell the stories over and over again for all the new viewers that are coming in. So what was the other question?
The time. Do you have it? Because I get the show about on Wednesday, usually before the morning's up, sometimes later, but usually before the morning's up. I have the show on Wednesday. Do you set yourself I know you set yourself with a goal, but did you say, look, I'm going to work this many hours on it, or are you one of those guys that just works on it till it's done?
Just work. Well, I'll go through a couple of days. So like Ethan this week will probably get me the show on Saturday, and then I'll work from Saturday all the way until Wednesday morning. And the reason is because the highlight packages, and then you have to remember we have to edit the photos. And I mean, not a heavy edit on the photos, but just get them ready and crop nicely for the YouTube thumbnails. And then also the album goes out on Monday. The matches drop on Monday. So you've got the main. Oh man, this is the whole thing. You got to have the theme. What's the name of the episode? The thumbnail has to kind of match the name of the episode. Also, the thumbnail has to be something that people on Fight TV would go, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Let's push that. You know what I mean?
I've asked you many times, and you're going to probably, I'll say, you got the thumbnail yet? And because I do a lot of stuff with the thumbnail, and you're like, nope, not yet. And I'm thinking, here's this, mad scientist in the laboratory who waits to the last minute to do the thumbnail. So
sometimes I'm updating the graphic as I'm doing the show, or something will happen and the graphic or the style will change, and I can go in and update that. One of the things, especially the graphics, it's like you're thinking about it while you're editing the show, and sometimes you'll hear a quote from the show that now becomes the title of that episode. So it's very free flowing and it's very creative. I love that. You hit some home runs and then you miss some. One of my faves was when like James Ellsworth was standing outside the taxi, with his bag.
Yeah.
That was one of the thumbnails because I felt like it looked like like a television show instead of a wrestling show.
Right.
So it's fun to get creative with those, but all that stuff has to be done every episode. Every episode.
So what kind of time? How long does it take, Dustin?
From Saturday when I get the show all the way until Wednesday morning. Every now and then I can deliver the show on Tuesday.
Every now and then we get it on Tuesday.
Every now and then.
I usually say Wednesday morning. We had like 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was Wednesday. You text me about 4:30, and I was like, no, I'm not even touching it because I quit at 4:30 on both of my shoot job and my real job. I mean, my shoot job and working with Memphis Wrestlers. So it's one of those things where you have to. What else is important in life, and you have to put it forward. And I know that's what you do. You have a family. You have to do that. Plus, you're working on this show all the time. Real quick, so what happens with me? You got the show done. You ship it over to me and some other people's on the mailing list. And I go, I take the show, I download it. As I've said before on this show, and Dustin knows this, I don't do spoilers. So I keep away from what's going on the show. He sends me the official lineup, and most of the time I will look at the official lineup just to see who's on the show. And I've learned really quick on official lineup, you don't tell everything. So that's a good thing. No spoilers whatsoever. I go through the official lineup. Then I have to set. This is really a tight thing that I do. It used to not be so tight, but it is. I format it. I format it with hits, misses, blah blah blah. And then I do the show. I watch the show. I take notes. Then I record the show from that point. But I also, while I'm recording the show, I'm also targeting YouTube Shorts. I'm targeting all this stuff. So I got a timer that tells me how long I'm going to do misses, how long I'm going to do, so that it ends up there in that. That's why we may get more hits on something. With me, we double dip, really. You use all my clips. I use all my clips on my feed. We get, huge engagement on your compared to to mine, but you have such a large audience. But the time is usually I get to work on it on Thursday afternoon. I'll do Rolling into Mempho, and I will do official lineup, and then I ship that to Dustin. And I always tell you that's on Wednesday afternoon. I try my best to get it done by Wednesday. And then Thursday, I get up and I start working on videos. And I always tell you end of day Friday. Gives you a time to know that I'm going to get these done no matter what happens.
You're always early, too.
But it's always earlier than the end of the day Friday.
Yeah.
But it's the process. And it's
So,
you know,
once that show is edited and I deliver it to you and all the stations, excuse me, the work's not done there, because now I have to take that and then I have to clip out the most important parts. Like you said, you're targeting shorts. So I'll clip the match, I'll clip some shorts, I'll clip the promo segments, the highlight packages, anything that I think that people would want to see if they go to the YouTube page, and then they're dropped at the same time and the same day every single week. We also have some really cool new footage that's coming up, or some repurposed footage that you guys are going to be really interested in. So like the YouTube page itself, honestly, is a business in itself. Those videos are going to be there forever and ever and ever and ever and amen. And then all the talent and stars that we have now and the people that we bring in, I just feel like there's a huge opportunity with the YouTube channel, especially we just surpassed 21 million views.
Wow.
So that's huge for us, and it's not been a long time either. So there's a big emphasis on YouTube. So I clip all that stuff out, and then you've got to schedule it. You've got to put thumbnails on it. You've got to put descriptions on it. You got to put keywords on it, and then boom, boom, boom. And then guess what? By the time you're done with that, guess what happens, BT?
What?
It's the next week, and you got to do it all over again.
I feel that way too. We used to watch it. And I would start editing and doing the podcast on Saturday afternoon. It's so much easier to do.
I love it though.
I enjoy doing it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it.
And you could call me a homer or whatever, but if I found this show and I'm just a wrestling fan and I just found the show, I would be pleasantly surprised at a lot of the things on this independent wrestling show, especially the talent and, the feature attractions. We had no business having Matt Hardy or Dolph Ziggler or Joe Hendry and all that kind of stuff, but we did. So I just think from a viewer standpoint, I'm a fan of it. So when I'm doing it, I love to do it. So I don't really feel like
I've said this before. If we decided,
I feel guilty.
Yeah, I've said this before, but I say, if I decided, or me and Dustin came to a mutual agreement somewhere where they say future endeavored, if he future endeavored BT, then we would, I would still watch the show. I enjoy the show. Guys, let me tell you something, Dustin, real quick. Your time is up. If you're watching us right now, you want to see what else we talk about. It's got to be Shooting Star. It's got to be on Patreon. It's got to be on, Memphis Wrestling, members only. Same bad time, same bad channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And as everyone knows, and Dustin knows this, I love my mom.